Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You know where you are. You are with BCHG, Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Yes, ladies, we are the Black Coffee. Sometimes our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we got a little grit, which I think we're going to have today, but we always have sass class and all that ass. Welcome to Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. My name is Debbie Maisha. I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist, Master Life Coach, and Teacher of Sensuality for Women. Hey, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and who else is on here? All right, tossing the microphone to Carmel.
Hey everybody, I am Carmel Jean-Francois. I am a coach, fitness and nutrition coach, working with folks who have come to realize that they might be addicted to sugar and maybe even food. And I assist them in adapting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle to overcome that addiction. And I'm also here to encourage each and every one of you to add more plants to your plate. I'm going to pass it over to you, Jamekia.
Hey everybody, I am Jamekia Anderson. I am your mental alchemist. I help you transform your life into the life that you really desire and want to live by. Look, by making sure that we build some mental fortitude and tap into our spirituality. I'm passing it over to you, Dr. Jen.
Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Jemecia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your mental health coach, speaker, author, all the things, and I'm 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Passing it to you, Shellie.
And you guys, I am Shellie A. Carter out of New Jersey, the CEO and founder of Housing Ministry LLC. In that space, I am working with people to find, fund, and monetize their real estate so that we can own more and struggle less. And today you are with the 5 women of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits because we're going to be talking about Black women. Are you too strong and independent? This topic is something that I've been struggling with. So I don't know about you guys, and I don't even want to start. But just as a question alone, can we do a quick roll call? How do we feel? Are we too strong and independent? I'm going to say 50-50, but I have to pick one, right? So I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to definitely say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
What about you?
No.
Okay.
I know she was going to say no because we were going to say yes, but she said no because she believed it.
I'm saying no because I believe it. Look.
Well, hopefully you do believe it, but there's a lot of conversations going on, and I heard a video. I've shared it with you guys. We got one video and one speaker, and we'll get into our own feelings as we get through this. But you got one speaker, male, saying, ladies, it's your time. The men had our time. You know, we did everything. You were here. You were a second-class citizen. You couldn't even vote. And it's your time to step up and stand out and show out. Then there's another one where there's a woman and she's speaking to, I believe, this Mormon faith where she was in business, running a business, being the head of the business, but not owning anything, not being given any real rights. And after 25 years of marriage, and what she describes, wow, I couldn't say that out loud, as a luxury lifestyle, being able to do everything she wanted, this woman wound up in her car because she had surrendered herself to her man. And when he decided that they weren't going to be married anymore, there she was with nothing because she did what everyone said we're supposed to do. You know, be feminine, be soft, let the man lead. And it left her with nothing. Ow.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so I can say to you guys, and I confess freely, I've been struggling because I'm saying, okay, Shellie, are you too strong? Are you too bossy? Are you going to let your guy lead? And when my first husband and I broke up and I said, we're not together anymore, everyone said, what'd you do, Shellie? They didn't even ask me questions. They just assumed it was me. You're too strong, you're too bossy. You must not have let him do what he was supposed to do. And here we are, number 2, and I say, okay, I'm gonna be more gentle. I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna let him lead. But on days when I want stuff done a particular way, that's just damn painful. And I want to throw out in the world where If things need to get done and we as women are seeing gaps, is it criminal for us to step in, especially when it has to do with our lives, our livelihood, our children? Why are we getting beat up for stepping in and filling in a gap? It's a gap. It's a big black hole. And we have the ability to cure it, or at least make it a smaller gap and make improvements. But every time we step up, because we try to let our men do it and they don't, and I hear how I sound, but it is what it is. So our men don't step in, we step up, and then we get beat up for it.
Mm.
Too often, maybe not 100%, but far too often. And I want to throw one more thing in for us to discuss, and then I guess we'll bump up to you, Maisha, because I love the face that you're making right now. We're talking about, as I've been listening to all of this, they're talking about how women are making so much more than men, and that's a whole other hubbubaloo. So they're saying, well, we've got to change our standards or compromise more. I'd like to hear you guys' feedback on that as well. So, Maisha, you pop in.
Well, no, I was letting it all kind of rattle around in my brain, everything that you were saying, and so I can only speak to my experiences, right? I can't speak
Mm-hmm.
for all women. When I think about us being too strong or too independent, in the sense of we don't allow ourselves to ask for help. We
Mm-hmm.
think that we have to have all of the answers by ourselves, and there's part of that is because we have had some experiences, at least I did in my life, where I felt like I didn't have anyone I could depend on. So because of my experiences, I felt like I could only lean on me, and I had to handle everything by myself. I chose a man, and let me be clear in saying I chose a man, because unless we're living in a place where we don't get to have a choice, because that's real, there are women who live places where they don't have a choice. I chose my husband, and I chose a man who was not able to carry out certain things. And I had to really take a look at why I made that choice. And so, because I made that choice, I put myself in a position partially to have to then do everything by myself and on my own, almost literally everything. And I had to look at why I would decide to do that. And part of it was trust, because I wasn't really able to trust other people to do that. So I think that when I look at Black women being too strong and independent, the answer is yes, but I do understand why that may be the case. It's just that it's not very healthy for us, literally, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, for us to carry that burden on our own. And we need to start looking for ways to invite community in. To It doesn't have to be all on our man, but to invite community of women and sisterhood in, which is what, so that we are not carrying this burden alone. But right now, as it stands, I think that as Black women, we do far too much on our own, and don't allow ourselves to fall back and let someone else assist us. That's my take.
No, that's a mouthful. And your your internet in a little bit, but that's okay. It's the community that I love. I heard something that I don't know is factual, but they said women live longer, not because of our sisterhoods, because of our relationships. What do have you heard anything like that before?
Yes, we do live longer in part because we have that type of community.
And it seems so humorous when it's delivered, but it's really not funny. Not when you get down to the nitty gritty, right? So what about you, Dr. J?
It's interesting because I don't know who practitioner is. Her comment. Can somebody put her comment back up? It says she had to explain this to someone she's dating today. I've had to self-soothe and swift protect for many years. It's now hard to let my guard down and trust someone to protect me.
Mm.
At the moment, I am 100%
Wow.
understanding of what she's saying, because I come from a long line of strong Black women. And let's be clear, in my family, in my lineage, it was like a badge of honor. It was like, all of the women in this family are strong. You got to be strong. You got to hold it down. And not only that, I'm a 60s baby. So I don't know where that feedback is coming from, but it's loud. But my mom was very much a force. My grandmother was a force, and it was always taught to me that you have to make sure that you have your own back. Even though we have strong men in the family, I saw my father have my mom's back. I saw all of that. But my mom was more or less the type that was like, get off me. Don't help me. I got this. So I was taught that through words and through her deeds. And so now, and what Maisha was saying, I have always, for whatever reason, attracted men that I knew I needed to be strong, period. I did not commingle my money. I know that sounds crazy, but I did not commingle my money. I never looked to a partnership as a true partnership. I always kind of was like, hey, no matter what, I'm going to be good. And so to hear what we talked about earlier with the young lady who was like, hey, I'm going to let my guards down, and now she's living in her car. Then I hear my mother saying, see, you ain't supposed to let your guards down, right? But on the other hand, you're lonely. You're by yourself. You don't have good partnerships with men. You're so strong that you're masculine. So where's the balance? I think that, yes, we are too strong. However, I think we still need to be smart in picking our partners or being chosen by a partner. However that pans out, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I still have my stuff. I'm very independent. However, I do understand that sometimes I'm too strong, and maybe to my detriment. So I'm here as speaking with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits, but I'm also very much a student and am still learning how to be a little softer. That is why it's important to have women like you around, to be in courses like Maisha's course, Jamekia's course, to have more plants on my plate, whatever, learn how to be savvy with my finances so we can share the knowledge with our partners and all of those things, right? So, yeah, we're strong. But I also know that we have strong men who can hold us. We just have to know and be open to letting them in.
So
I agree with you on that too.
So,
Well,
Dr. J, you had mentioned how your mom was like, no, I'm okay, I got this. And I'm thinking about my mom, right? Because my mom might have been one of the strongest women that I ever knew. My mother was never given the opportunity to say, no, I got this. My mom had it. There was nobody coming to her rescue. My father worked all day, every day. And their relationship was a little bit funny, right? They didn't love each other like a married couple would. They more or less respected each other, and they were raising their kids. So my mother was an amazing provider. She took care of us. She protected us. She did everything she had to do. She worked. She cleaned. She cooked. Made sure that we were cleaned and fed, and yet she took pleasure in being feminine. She took pleasure in making herself pretty and getting all dolled up for functions and things like that. So it just showed me that there were two aspects to being strong: to show up for other people and her family, and also to show up for herself in that way, to just enjoy and have fun. So, oh, we lost Jamekia. So that was interesting as I think back, because nobody was telling her. And out of her sisters, she was the only one that was so independent. Her sisters had husbands who they lived their lives very much in a partnership. So my aunts relied on their husbands to do anything, to go to the groceries, to go shop, whatever it was. The husbands usually were there. So with that said, and I'm thinking about myself and thinking about my personality and how I just looked up to my mom growing as I was growing up, and how strong I see myself, and knowing that a part of that is probably the reason why I'm not even married. I remember dating someone, and he told me, he says, I don't know where I fit in your life, because you pump your, he literally told me, you pump your own gas, you make more money than I, like, he listed all the reasons why he did not feel like he served any purpose in my life whatsoever. And I sat there, I was like, I couldn't even argue with him, because everything he was saying was right. To the point where even when men would offer, let me carry your bag, I would just be like, I'm strong. Do you see how strong I am? Like, and almost take offense. But why? And there was a part of me that was resistant to the fact that in my family as well, if you weren't married and didn't have children by a certain age, you were old maid, or that my identity was wrapped up in a man, and that was the consensus in my family. So I wanted nothing to do with that. So I was very resentful of that. And part of me, rebelling to that idea was, I'm not married. I'm having fun right now. Those are a few of the things that, there was something else that you said that I wanted to talk about. But you know what? I'll just pass it on. Well, Jamaica's not here, but I'll just pass it on to whoever. And if it comes back, I'll just chime in.
No, that's fine. Just interrupt me anytime, because honestly, I feel stuck between the two of you. And this is what my current battle is, because I listen to you guys and I drink it all in, and in a positive way. Okay. But it's okay. I'm not looking for a man to do this, and I'm not looking for a man to do that. Well, so I'm here with all of these women, and I hope I say this right. I won't get myself in trouble right before we're traveling together. But I'm here with all of these women, and I'm the only one taking a particular position sometimes. And I was like, well, why is that? What is the difference? And in my raising, it was, you're going to be strong, you're going to be independent, you're not going to need anyone, male or female, to do anything that you need. You go out, you've got your own car, you've got your own money, you've got your own everything. The home is yours, the money is yours, the car is yours, your life. He's there, he's not there, you're always okay. But when I tell you, within the last number of years, when I go to a couple of the elders in my family, one in particular, her idea of strong is being able to tolerate him, staying silent, taking it, right? And it's like, man, what I told you guys this before, and it's, man's business is below your waist. Everything else belongs to you. So, just kind of deal with them, keep them quiet. It's not, I'm embellishing, but it's still it's how I process it. It's like, just keep them quiet, stay in the back, but, just be a good wife, be a good daughter, stay in your place. And when I hear all of these people talking about all this feminine stuff, big articulate word, right? I fight it, because like, I want to be in my place. What's my place? You don't put baby in a corner. You're trying to put me in a corner. I don't belong in a goddamn corner. I belong at the front door. I belong at the gate. You can't even get on the property unless I let you on the gate. But there's this internal battle, and you got one woman who is strong. She made it work. She's got 2 kids. She's got 10 kids. And I admire these stories of these mothers who raised our generation and others, and they did it somehow by magic. But, when I hear you, Jamecia, Dr. Jamecia, talking about your mother, that is how I was raised to be. If my dad was here, my dad would say, beep him. You don't need him. What is he for? And if it's not working out, then step away, make a change. And there's so much contradiction in the conversation that I can stop my current babble by saying there is no one formula for all of us. There's no one that handed me how to be a girl, how to be a young woman, how to be a wife. I never got any handbook. And all of the books that are out there are nothing but opinions. So I've had to listen to myself and listen to what I think were seemingly jokes, but are my truth. Because my dad used to always tease me and say, "You're the son I always wanted. Your mother never gave me a son, so you're going to have to do." So I had to put up the sheetrock. I had to cut the grass. I couldn't drive my car unless I knew how to change the tires, check the fluids. Like literally took me outside, disassembled everything, and said, "Call me when everything's back together." Most girls don't go through that. So here I am when I'm being, I'm being tossed into the wilderness to survive. And now I got all you people coming in here telling me I'm supposed to be all pink and flowery. It just doesn't work. But I am
Well,
100%. Huh?
so I just this, you know,
And I'm not making it about me. I'm just,
no,
I can only
and you
speak,
can
but
make it about you.
but I know that I represent, I'm going to talk one more second. I saw her the other day.
Yeah.
She's out here fixing stuff and she says, "I'm all girl," but she says, "I'm a girl who knows how to change my own tire." And she said, and it caught me because she said her dad did the same thing. Took her outside. The tire was on the ground, said, "Here's the keys. When the tire's on the car, come let me know." And then he went in the house and left her outside.
I was taught how to change my oil, check my oil. I was taught how to check my oil.
Yeah,
Well,
so there's this idea that again, and first of all, I don't pay a lot of attention to social media because there's a lot of foolishness and fuckery on there. And
absolutely.
there's this idea that being feminine looks like femininity, which is not the same thing. There's this idea that feminine is long hair and skirts and the color pink and you bake and you're kind of all like, "Ah." That's not all that's someone's version of it,
Yeah.
sure, and if they're enjoying that life, that's fine. But there are whole classes of warrior women who were feminine. So this idea that one cannot be feminine and wield a sword, or
Right.
feminine and change a tire, or feminine with short hair, or feminine and make six figures. I don't, at this stage, I was taught that, like a lot of other people were. I mean, I was given the Disney princess spiel for sure. And I think that clouds our judgment. So when I look at what it means to be feminine, first of all, I'm not, and or strong or anything. I'm not looking at anybody else's version of anything else, because someone's experiences are going to lead them to act a certain way or be a certain way. And I don't have those experiences, right? So I'm a very strong woman. And I have not allowed myself I have not given a man space to show up for me, because I was also taught by my father to do for myself. He was very big on do for self. What he didn't realize in that lesson, and I understand from his perspective why he would want to teach me, his eldest daughter, those things. But what that did was set me up to choose men who could never do for me. So I was always putting myself in a position to do the thing that my father taught me to do, which is do for self.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so and then based on my mother's experiences, yeah, I realized that hey, ladies in my family, if y'all watch this is just the truth, y'all. The women in my family don't really like men. They're not mean to men. They're not nasty to men. They have, several of them have been married more than once. They cook, they were there, but they don't trust men. Men are like these children that you have to kind of show how to do things. So there wasn't a real high level of respect. So there's not a high level of respect, and I need to do for myself. Who else would I marry but a man who I didn't really have a high level of respect for, and who then I had to always do for myself? Right. So some of that was conditioning. And now it's on me.
It's the conditioning
to decide if I'm going to accept that conditioning or not. And I have chosen at this stage in my life, and it is very difficult because it is frightening. And we have an anonymous question I'm going to ask, because now it clicks and it leads into it. It is frightening to now accept, okay, let me do the trust game. Let me put my arms like this and let me go back and let me trust that he's got me. Because otherwise, why would I be in the relationship with him if I'm just going to do everything by myself? So the anonymous question is, do we as women feel the need to be so strong with men because we're afraid to fail?
I'm going to say yes.
Wait, say the question again.
Do we feel the need to be so strong with men, so strong in relationships, so strong in life, so strong as a woman, because we're afraid to fail?
Oh, yeah, sign me up for that one.
Because
failure is not an option. See,
it is not.
It's off the table.
It's off the table, especially from my household. Oh, no. Now, when the women, right? When the women fail, oh, okay, we'll make allowances there. But once the man fails, it's like, you're cut off. There's no room for that. But I understand where you're going with it, because for me, Maisha and Shellie, I'm at a place now where I struggle with letting go. I struggle with even showing vulnerability that I want to show. Like, it's like, I want to run to y'all and show y'all my vulnerability first, right? My girlfriends first before I even show the man, because in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's not going to understand, or he's going to see me differently, or he's not going to be able to hold me, or he's going to say something stupid or whatever. So that's where I struggle. And I'm finding now that, okay, I want that. I want a partner that I can fall into, that I can be soft with.
We want it, but I don't know. We want it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
I'm more. I've got 1.5 leg over. I think I'm getting there. I'm serious. I mean, and on top of that, I believe God has sent me a strong man, and I'm open to it. So,
I have had strong men present themselves to me and actually been offended by that. I've told you guys this before. Why are you telling me where you live, where you went to school, what you drove? I don't care about that. What that got to do with me? And I recognize now that this independent me, that's what that was. Yet, if I'm talking and running my mouth, I would say that that's what I wanted. What they brought to the table is what I supposedly wanted. But Dr. J, like you said, why are you choosing these? I'm choosing these men because I've been programmed that I don't need a man for that. But I say I want a man, I say I want a man. But if I wanted a man like that, I would have gotten a man like that, except for I was inside my lie and inside my confusion. And I still wind up, I've got someone who works and earns, but I still handle things. And I don't want to say anything additionally that would be taken negatively about my husband, but that stereotype where the women's got to make the doctor's appointments and we've got to handle everything. He'll pay for it, he'll do it, but I gotta make all the arrangements. And I find myself a little resentful because my dad did everything. And I'm like, what do you want me to do that for? I don't do that. You don't make my doctor's appointments, so why I gotta make yours? It's what
That was
wow.
me. Sorry.
Oh, it's what I
This
signed
is
up
like
for.
an agreement.
And I recognize that it's what I signed up for. I signed up for that. That is who he was, and he's being him, and I'm being me. And it's not just social media, Maisha, that is laying these things out. It gets talked about, right? Because that's where we have most of our conversations. But it's everywhere. It's in dialogue. It's in our families. It's in every woman within our age group, plus or minus 10 years, whose mother or father says you're not married, so your life must be no good because you're not married. Your life must not be no good because it doesn't fall into this little stupid box that someone somewhere designed. But why are we in boxes? And to get back to it, if we're saying Black women, are you too strong and independent? I'm not going to change my answer, but who defined what strong and independent is? If I'm alone and I'm single, and we get into, I am going to go ahead and share because I feel like it. We get into these tussles because I know how to do things. And I have to remind him, I am about to be 55 years old. We have been married for 14 years. Before I knew you, I had to do this stuff on my own. So now you want to take stuff that I am programmed and skilled at handling on my own, and you want to tell me I'm not supposed to do that anymore. And then we have a disagreement on how it's supposed to be done. I don't think I'm too strong. I just think we need to communicate better and outline who's going to do what and find better agreement and better alignment. If we were single, things might get handled one way, but we're married, so you put the work in to making things work. But that's where we've got to come together on some communications. And these definitions need to be thrown into the deep blue sea.
So, Dr. J, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, and two, I think for me, I started to believe my own lies. Which is that I can do it all by myself, that I didn't need anybody, that I can make all the money, that I can make all the decisions, and everything else would fall in place. But that's not, it's not true. There are men out there. There are partnerships, there are relationships, there is community. And I see that someone said in the chat, Miss Practitioner, said that she has no one to fall back on. I continuously told myself that same thing. And I'm not saying she's telling herself a lie. I told myself a lie when I did have someone to fall back on. However, I liked saying that I'm doing it all by myself. I liked it. I liked saying, oh, I have no one. I'm just being honest. And I don't like that anymore.
Well,
so I don't want anymore.
So yes, I do like my independence, but it's interesting because I feel like my mother having to do everything that she needed to do, I feel like if the opportunity came for help, she would have taken it. And I think maybe my mom even wanted it, right? She wanted that help, but no help ever came. And I feel like I've fallen into that category, that I'm strong, and yes, I wanna seem like that very, very strong person. But I found myself in relationships where I was just kind of like, I'll let you lead. I want you to lead. And I found myself in a relationship where we got along so well. Just like what you were saying, Shellie, like, I'm grown. I was doing these things before I met you and married you. So I'm still doing my thing. He did his thing. I did his thing. I was independent, but yet when we had discussions, it was a real discussion. It was a really exploring options. And it seemed like he was very respectful of how strong I showed up in the relationship. And I was extremely humbled by how strong he showed up, because I never really experienced that or even allowed that into my life. But it turned out that perhaps I was too strong for him, because he had this Superman complex, as Jamekia would say, Captain Save-A-Ho. And so and pretty much that was for everybody. Anybody who knocked on his door asking for help, he was so willing to help. And he had a beautiful heart that way. But I feel like he also had a side of him that was very codependent on that. And I was not asking him for that type of help, physically, emotionally, spiritually, any of that. Like, I had my own, and he needed to save someone, anyone, be it an ex-girlfriend, be it a friend, be it his own siblings. And in that regard, for the first time, even though I had found somebody that I felt like I did not have to put up this strong front, even though I felt like I found somebody who I can let in and help me with the things that I wanted to do, like putting up a bookcase. I have no problem with assembling a bookcase. And he was just like, that turns me on. So he was not threatened by that. But at the same time, he would be like, listen, you want that done? We can hire somebody to fix that for you. So he had those options available. And for me, it finally felt like I can breathe and not have to be so strong and do everything. And I could run things by him. And he was one of the first people that ever told me, no is a full sentence, right? No. And I was just like, wow. So I feel like, sometimes we're that strong because we have to be. But sometimes we have to kind of like sit back and say, do I have to be this way right now? Are there people around me? Do I have the resources where I can just take a deep breath and not have to give my all? Yeah, that's
I'll chime in. And this is so silly, but it's what you make me think of, Carmel. I told you guys that I used to hang out with a couple of guys, my cousin and I. They handled everything. They had the money. They did all the things. And I snuck off one night during dinner and prepaid the bill. And to keep this short and sweet, I was told not to do that again. I did it. They couldn't undo it, but it was, Yeah, and it's, like I'd gotten a big check and they handled everything all the time. And I just closed the deal and I was just busy being bubbly, ignorant Shellie. And yeah, so sometimes we've got to let the men be the men. What'd you say, Maisha?
I said, I would say, you were looking to be giving, not realizing that giving also encroached on their own personal feelings of masculinity, but your intentions were pure. And I was go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you're right. That's it. You're right.
I think a lot of this comes down to when I hear these conversations, I'm always looking at the layers of things, and what I hear underneath it is trust. It's not an issue of being strong or independent. It's an issue of trust. Do I trust that this man is going to show up for me? Do I trust he's going to be there for me? Do I trust he can handle all of me? It's really an issue of a lack of trust. And we want to trust, like this, that, like Carmel was saying, it's like this, I want to give space for someone else to do it because we really do want that. But then but I don't think I can actually trust you to do that. And so now I'm going to do it on my own. And my mother was someone who she would say she needed help. She would kind of complain and be really passive aggressive about it, because we're really good at that as women, not being honest about what we want and not actually saying it, but kind of stomping and moping and being a little toddlerish about it, hoping that someone reads our minds and gets the message and just does it for us anyway, because they know what we really want, but we don't say it. And so
are you in my head, Maisha? What's happening?
I have been, and so we're passive aggressive about it. My mother was very passive aggressive about it. She wouldn't ask for help. but you should know she needed some. But then when you went to give it, it was kind of like, I can do this. What are you trying to say about me? Lady, listen, I don't know what is happening here, right? And so we have to make a decision if we were going to, kind of to Carmel's point, if we're going to be like, I'm so strong, I can handle it. And then dude is like, fine, you got it. You said you can handle it. And be like, I can't believe he's actually going to let me handle it. Cause you said you can handle it.
No one is a mind reader. But there's still the other side. There's the other side when you do lean into someone to handle it, when you do surrender. And I'm shifting us a little bit, but it is worth saying out loud that there are shelters full of women who surrendered, who wanted to let their guy, not just abuse. That there's more stories in the world than that negative, that hard negative. But there's just, we gave in, we're going to be here with our guy, and it just didn't work. And I still have that hard time breaking up with the fact that I do know how to do it. You know how to do it. We can get it done ourselves. And I just wonder, and we're going to have to let Jamekia in since she's back in, but is it so criminal? Why is our ability to take care of ourselves criminalized? And Black women in particular, they are putting us in a category as if we alone are destroying America. We alone are single-handedly, our umbrella, destroying Black men but there's a situation. Go ahead, chime in.
Well, I have to say that I don't agree that we are criminalized. As a matter of fact, I think we're pushed forward. I think we're celebrated because we're looked to as stronger. I think that we've always gotten praise for being strong Black women. I think that we have accepted it. And so then we start championing that. And then we start thinking, oh, we're bigger, we're better, we're stronger. And then we are not.
So I think both are true, because this is where it comes into.
And I think both are true. There has to be some harmony.
Right. That it's in certain places and spaces, depending on your family. And some families, it may be you're supposed to sit back and let that man be what the man's supposed to be. And why are you doing all of these things, right? As though we're responsible now for all of his self-esteem, which Black men have their own work to do around those things. And then you have other families in which you need to just go out there and do everything yourself, sis. Don't you let a man X, Y, and Z. Don't do any of that. The more you can pile on your plate, the fuller you can be all by yourself, well, the better, because that way you'll avoid the heartache and pain and suffering that comes along with, opening yourself up and being vulnerable. So I think it's that both of those messages and additional messages are coming at us. But now that Jameka's here and has had a chance to hear where we're at,
Can I say something to that?
You want to add, or you want to go ahead?
Just really quickly.
You can keep going.
And so, okay, so I hear it, and I know. Again, I'm a '60s baby, so I feel like, okay, we're being pushed forward. We're being told, okay, you can do everything without a man. You can do this, you can do that. And now, I'm not a Black man, but I can imagine that, and I feel that Black men are resentful.
That's where I was going.
Who do they take it out on? They have nobody else but us to take it out on. And so it said in the chat, well, we're not celebrated by Black men. Well, no, we're not by a lot of Black men, but there are some who do. So I can say, okay, whatever. Yes, that's true. And no, but What I'm saying is now we've got this whole narrative over here saying be independent, do everything. Now we have black men over here saying, well, hey, you guys are beating us up. You guys are wanting us to do this, that, and the other. And we're listening to everything. And we don't know which way to, right now, we're just in this fight with our men, with our people, with our community. And I think now we have to silence all the drama and figure this crap out together as black men and black women. And it's going to take a lot of work.
And black parents.
We have to start believing in each other again.
I'm here for all of that. And I'm glad that you got all of that out, because that's pretty much where I was going. And maybe we might not like the word that I'm using. I love that you said resentful, but it seems like all of the programs, and it's just not true. But when I was preparing for this conversation and I looked into my stats, I don't know if it was 49-51 one way or the next, but it was 51% female and 49% male. My audience now is 71% female. The content, and it's just so easy to produce content and get that dialogue going. And I just feel like we're stepping in and we're being so responsive. But I really would love us to have more healing conversations, more of a bridge to bring us together. And I struggle with building those bridges. I got to be honest about that. But I know we need them. You know, I'm here and I've been blessed to be left in charge of a young black man. That's what I'm raising right now. And I do care about what his future looks like, what he has to bring to his life, to a life with a partner, you know, what kind of human he's going to be on the planet. So I am very interested in having healing conversations where he doesn't look back and say, oh, I'm just going to date other women because you black women are too much.
So
And
a lot of
go ahead.
no, a lot of this does come back to communication. Someone said in the chat, a lot of this comes back to communication, and a lot of people don't have communication skills. So a couple of things, Shellie, one of the reasons why your content might be geared towards women is because you're a woman, and women, and you speak to women, and it just might not be appealing to men in the same way. We gravitate naturally to who we feel comfortable with, and for some reason that's been shunned, like everything's supposed to be for everybody, and it's not.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to just touch that. That was who was responding. When you hear me sometimes saying, okay, ladies, and she, that was because I saw the flip. And once my audience turned female, that's it. If I want to have a different audience, I'm going to have to start over or do something else. When I post male content, the women don't even tune into it.
Right, because there is a difference between men and women, and we live in this. And one of the reasons why this conversation gets so jinky is because there's something that keeps telling people that we're all supposed to be the same. We are not all the same. Men's brains are different from women's brains. Things work differently. I made all the doctor's appointments in my house. Why? Because generally I was better at multitasking than my husband was. I was better at the details than my husband was. I tried to have him do all the bills because somebody said the man's supposed to handle the money. The man couldn't do shit with the money. He sucked at handling the money. And it took years for me to say, you know what? That's just not his strong suit. Right. But we don't have conversations. We make a lot of assumptions. People do when they get into relationships, and we don't know how to communicate and even say, so this is how I grew up. And I have this idea of what it means to be strong and independent as a woman, but I'm looking to shift that. What are your views on it? Like, we don't, that type of deep conversation does not enter the equation. So then what happens is, if I'm, in my car, or my car is sitting and the gas tank is going on E, what do? I sit and go, I can't believe he's not filling up my gas. I know it's on E. Like, do I have to go and do it? What's the point of me having a man? How come he's just not going to go do it? But I never had a conversation with this man to say, hey, look, There are some things that I used to do that I kind of just really don't do anymore. Are you okay with doing them now? Why can we not have that talk? Hey, the desk I'm using right now, I put together myself. Come hella high water, I'm doing it again. I don't want to. I don't want to put together another motherfucking thing. I don't want to change a tire. I've never done it. I don't want to change oil in my car. I don't want to do it. I don't want to handle those things. But guess what? If I'm getting into a relationship with a man, I'm going to let him know. I really don't want to handle these things. But the budget and the money and all of that, let me do that. Not because it's a trust thing, just because I'm damn good at it. You don't have to worry about all those little details. I got you on that one. Why are we not having those conversations?
Okay, so then what's the definition of a strong woman, right? Because I can do all of those things, but then I can't talk to you. So the fear of having a conversation and the real conversation that might follow is so scary. But there's the strong Black woman, the woman that's able to initiate a hard conversation, because it's not always easy. What if I get some backlash from him? What do you think this is? And I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to put that bookcase together. Well, I'm not paying anybody to put that bookcase together. I'm not doing it, so you better do it. Like, what's the conversation that follows? And then is there an argument?
He's not the man. He's not the man.
So he's not the man. But
right.
I'm not strong enough to admit that to myself yet, Maisha.
Right. And see, so here's where we are, and that's the real. I don't think I want to be alone. I don't want to be alone, so I'm not gonna have the conversation, and I'm gonna just kind of let it play out. Go ahead.
What I want to add to it is that, like, I kind of agree with all the things, and that's why I believe that as women we are not, as for me, the way I see it, I don't go with the societal norms of a strong Black woman, because I feel like it's a facade and it's a character that someone created, and then we all just took from it because you saw your mother do things that she didn't want to do. She got it done because she could get it done. Just because she got it done doesn't mean that is something that every woman wants to do, and that made her a strong woman. That was you as a child looking at a perspective of a mother, and your idea or your thoughts is that all women should be like your mother, which is a problem, because now you have all these false ideas. And again, it goes back, my biggest thing is it always goes back to communication. But number one is the communication that you're having with yourself. And what happens is most of us are not even dealing with our true selves. We're dealing with these perceptions of what people have told us we should do, we should look like, we should sound like. And until we quiet all the noise, we're never going to have what we truly want, because we don't even know who we truly are. And I think that that's a big thing. And then when you have true strong women, strong Black women, my version of that was the woman who could say what she will and won't do. The woman who could say, I don't like how you're talking to me. I don't like how you're treating me. Not the physicality of a thing. She being able to fix her own car, she being able to pay her own bills. Like, I think that those things were necessary to be taught, whether it been from your father or your mother. Because I hear a lot of society say, when you have people on these different platforms, well, Black women don't like me, Black men, and they don't this, and they don't support, and they don't all these other things. And they had these single mothers who pushed this idea, and it's like, no, because the person who taught me to be a woman and to stand on my own was my father. So the same person who you are, you know what all men do and say and want and whatever else. And when you come to your daughter, you teach her not to fall for someone like you. And so then that little girl grows up, and now you're dealing with those versions, right? The women who you deal with, because it's all your own reality that you create. So you're dealing with women who you kind of sort of don't like, who feel as though they're too strong or too, boisterous or whatever else. You're dealing with those people because of yourself needing to deal with some shit that you got within you. Like, the type of guys that I deal with is, and that's why, even, and I don't want to go too far off, but like when people say all Black men are blah 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 blah, I'm like, no, I've met some spectacular men. I've met some emotionally intelligent men. I have dealt with some men who really have themselves together, and they will allow you to be in your feminine energy, and they will also allow you to speak your voice. I deal with guys who, one in particular, who's like, I don't need you to change and shift and morph this into something that you think I need. I chose you because of who you were when we started talking. You know what I'm saying? And you need to always choose you first. And as long as you're choosing you first, then we can deal and we can co-create, because you know what you need, what you want, what you desire, and I can speak for myself, but we have to be able to communicate. But that communication is difficult to have when you've been a child, and as an adult you're still coming from a child's mindset, and your voice isn't strong enough for yourself, because it's, oh well, what is everyone going to think, who cares, but that's easy to say, but it still is a process, because you're trying to unravel 30, 40, 50 years of people manipulating you, people trying to get you to do what they want you to do, people trying to get you to fit into a box that, or a cookie cutter whatever woman, that they themselves don't even understand, because they're just looking at a perception. Your mother was just that what you view from her was just a perception of a woman, but you don't know how she was with a man, with a husband, with a friend, whatever. You just saw the mothering side of her. And that's what we take into all of these relationships or whatever else, is versions of what we have seen. So when, again, just as a full circle and come back to my point of view, I don't think that we are too strong or too independent. I think we have to have interdependence so that we can know who we are, we can focus on who we are, and we can become the best versions of ourselves. However, until we get to that point, that idea of being a strong woman is just a facade. It is not the true strength of who we really are, and it is just a forceful side, not the powerful side of us. And that's why we're so tired, because we keep trying to tap into and be forceful on things and ideas and stuff that do not serve us. And so we're doing more of a disservice to ourselves as women than what we really should be in, the vibration and the lane that we really should be in. And I digress.
I just
Thank
want
Oh,
to jump up and down and be like,
I thought you had nothing to say.
like the
She
one
said
thing, the
she
one
needed a minute. She had her minute, and now she
the one
dropped it down.
the one piece I wanted to touch on was the not knowing ourselves. I think
Yeah.
a lot of us gauge who we are as women against the women we've seen. So we
Mm-hmm.
have no idea who we are. We know who we're trying not to be. Right.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I saw my mother go through that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the opposite. Oh, my grandmother went through this. I'm going to be the opposite. We have no idea who we didn't even look at that and say, to your point, Jamekia, like, what led her to those conclusions that got her
Mm-hmm.
into that relationship? And it's funny because I was having this conversation with my son earlier, because we were talking about food and things, how like something like that is passed down. My grandmother locked the refrigerator because she came out of the Great Depression. Right. So imagine your parents are coming from some impoverished place or whatever. They're deep in survival mode, right? The women are deep in survival mode. This is why the pleasure is so important. Black women, our grandmothers were deep in survival mode, right? And so now they're raising their daughters, right? And it's this idea of survival mode. That's really what it is. And the choices that are being made aren't being made from what kind of life would I like to have? They're being made from how can I eat? How do I live? How do I make sure that my kids don't die? So
And why
now
are you
here,
not doing it the same way?
right, right. And so now here we are in a space and place where we have time to kind of think about these things that the woman in our family didn't have time to think about. What kind of life would I like to have? What kind of man do I want? What kind of career do I want? Like this, the world is open, but we don't realize that their world wasn't as open. And so we're looking at them going, I don't want to be like that. I'm gonna be the opposite way over here because I don't want to be stuck in any of that, without realizing that their lives were in a totally different time. So we can make different choices. What does strong mean?
Yeah.
What about vulnerability? What about the communication? What about the openness? What are we afraid of? Can we be with the man and let him know that? Can we allow ourselves to be held in that way? Those are the questions we can ask that they didn't have an opportunity to.
And are we allowed to be exceptional? Are we allowed to be exceptional? Because we're exceptional in so many ways. And, and then it falls right back into what you've said. I will confess, I'm not even 30 yet. I'm in my loft. I've made magic happen. I'm making six figures, working two jobs, but I'm in a phase of making six figures and still not feeling like I accomplished anything because I didn't fit into the mold. And it's just, we're talking about these male-female relationships, but the interpersonal ones, the history, those people that we're looking back on and the people who are looking forward on us, that is so important in this conversation. To me, it is. Because while I'm here figuring it out, I have to remember that my formula is my formula, and I get to reinvent my wheel. I get to redesign it. I get to paint pink stripes on it if I want. I don't want a white wall. It's not a caddy. I want black on black. I'm doing Tesla now, whatever it is. And I know that there are a lot of women that I engage with, all of us, I'm sure, who are stuck or have been stuck for a minute. I'm going to say I'm still stuck a lot of the times because I don't fit into that mold. And I don't even want to fit in that mold, but I still get hit with that pressure that, well, you're still it's supposed to be this way. That I have got to get that off of my shoulders. And I admire.
You said the right thing.
Huh?
You said the right thing. You have to get it off your shoulders. Now, listen, there's a lot of things that we are not owning. We're not owning our shit. We're not doing the work. All we're doing is running from this one to that one to this one to that one because we don't want to sit in it and own it and do the work.
Damn.
I'm glad you said that because it's Shellie, something you said, and I was kind of like, you said, and are we allowed to be exceptional? I didn't understand that question because there's no one who can allow. There's the word allow means permission.
Right. And
right.
I use it on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really did not feel like it. I remember I'm not that person on July 25th. That's not me. But I remember my father, and I guess I was beating myself up then. And my father said, "Do you know you make more money than everyone in the family?" And he said, "Okay, I'm sorry, you must not be hearing me," kind of a thing. I'm going to say it again. He said it again. And I said, "No, I didn't know." I said, "But I can't be." He said, "I'm telling you, child, you are currently the top earner in the family." And I felt like nothing because I wasn't doing it pretty. I wasn't driving the luxury vehicle. I wasn't living in the luxury house. I didn't fit the mold. So since I didn't fit in the mold, I assigned myself an accomplishment goal level of nothing.
Right. You assign that.
And so then the question becomes now, and it's a question for all of us in different ways, right? It's like, it's for me, it's the matter of safety. For Carmel, it could be the strong piece. For you, it's okay, that's not your mold. What do you want it to look like, right? For Dr. J, it's something different. For Jamekia, but I think every woman there's this core question that is guiding us in who we think we are as women and what it means to be strong and independent, that we now get an opportunity to say, is that actually who I want to be? And if not, then who is it that I want to be? And how do I be
those
her?
Questions. I want to add another question in there, which is, because we were talking about we still have to still be strong and independent. But when I'm taking care of myself, can I be proud of myself? And if I know the answer, I get to change that language. I get to be proud of myself for being able to take care of myself. and not being told because I'm not with a man, it's like, okay, yeah, but it doesn't count because you don't have a husband.
But
That's crazy.
right. So here's the thing too, Shellie. You create your life.
Of course we do, but there's a lot of us who still have these other voices in there. Of course we create our own lives, but there's the influences that are coming at us left, right, straight ahead. You sit down and say, okay, oh, I see an obstacle, I see an influence, I see some BS. Let me go that way. But there's some over there. This is constant bob and weave that we're in. I think for me, the big deal is just recognizing, and this is not new, I'm talking about it like it's new, but recognizing that we are not of the same mindset, we don't share the same point of view. And when you come at me, I'm grown up enough now to just say, okay. It's the little business thing. How's your little business going? It's doing okay. You got anything special happening? No, how you doing? I'm working hard. You know how it is. Just working hard, trying to get some sleep every now and then. They don't even invite them in to that. They don't need any details. And besides that, when you're in these modes, you find out as a grown up that a lot of people are just talking to you so they can talk about you. So you just learn to operate and flow in silence.
It's so interesting listening how families are so different, because and I said this to my brother once. I said, there's not one person, not one family member has ever come to me since my divorce. Like, this is what I talk about, the man piece, has ever come to me and said, are you dating? Are you seeing anyone? What's going on with your love life? Is there anybody for you? Like, whereas in Carmel's family, it might have been like, so where's the man at? In my family, that is never a question. No one ever asks how you are. It's not a thought. It's a very interesting dynamic to live within. That's why, like I said, it's like no one's mean, but clearly y'all don't really like the men. And I know the experiences that some of the women in my family have had. Right. So they've had some adverse experiences. They've had some really heinous experiences that have affected how they view things. Now, even if I hadn't had some of those experiences, and unfortunately I did, let's say I hadn't, right? And I grew up with these women around me who are raising me based on their adverse experiences. So now I grow up with this idea of, I don't really need a man because this is what men did to them. And now, even though not a man has done anything to me, I'm taking on their experiences as though they're my own. And I'm making a decision that they're not necessary in my life either. This is also happening for a lot of women, right? They didn't have any of the experiences that the women in their family had. But because of how they were raised, they have taken that on for themselves as well. And that's a part of that pulling off the influences and going back to that question of, what do I want? Who do I want to be? What does this idea of strong and independent mean for me?
And what does your relationship look like? Because the relationships we're having now are not the relationships from 25 years ago or 50 years ago. They are different. We are making more money. So, I heard someone break it down saying that these standards, these rules we have us down somewhere between 2 and 5% of the population. So, where do we negotiate or bend? And that for me goes back to the communication.
So I'll tell you why I like this comment here. I'll tell you why I try not to pay attention to some of that stuff, because that has a Black woman in a tailspin. Because what you hear is 1 in 4 men are in prison. I'm like, hello, that means 3 in 4 are not. Do you understand how we think about things and say them puts us in a certain mindset?
Yeah.
And so the when I see information come out, I always look to see who's putting it out and why. What is your agenda on having Black women running scared? Oh, so many of us have degrees. All the Black men don't. Oh my gosh, there must not be any Black men out there. Oh my gosh, there must not be any Black men out there. And to the point of creating our own reality, I don't see any Black men out there. gosh, is that the magazine said, the newspaper said, that this said that. And look, this is why we were doing this meditation thing, because everybody's so busy listening to everyone else's voice and not paying any attention. I don't care what the statistic says. There's a man out there for me, and I'm going to go find him. He might not be in my city. I might have to move. But the idea that there's that we have, because I see some of that, educated ourselves out of good relationships. No. And this, I see the comment, this ties into the comment, practitioner. There's a strong collective saying that women should not buy a house until she is married. For example, Dr. Jemecia, are you saying just tune out the noise? I'll answer and say absolutely yes. And the lady, if you want to buy that house, go on and buy that house. You can turn it into an investment property. All right, Alma.
Exactly.
Well, I did answer in the comment pretty much. And that, I think therein lies the problem. I do not have all the answers, but what I do know is this: we will continue to move and sway in the wind forever if we don't figure out what we want, what we need, and what we desire, period. And if we are so moved by other people's opinions and by other people's thoughts and what they think, and even if we don't, and even if we're so moved by what our parents did or what our sisters doing, brothers doing, or whatever, then we're never going to, I don't think we're ever going to feel settled in any way. So I say yes, meditate, tune out, journal, whatever you need to do. But I do not believe that we're so strong and independent that we cannot be with Black men or in relationships. I don't.
Agreed.
I think we can do both. I think we can be strong and independent and still be in partnership, and we can still lean on our partners, and we'll kick in when we need to. I don't think there's any, like somebody said in the chat, a cookie cutter way of doing it. But we have to create what's meant for us. And just because Maisha does something a certain way, or Jamekia does it a certain way, or Carmel does it a certain way, doesn't mean it's going to be my way. I may have a partner that lives state away, but we come together and do whatever as strong, as a strong Black woman and a strong Black man together. I don't think that Black women have to, like Maisha said, be weak to be feminine. I think it's dope for Black women to be strong, and we can still be feminine. So I hope I answered that question.
By the way, real quick, did y'all know that Cheryl Lee Ralph has been married for 20-something years?
Yeah.
And that she lived in California because of her career, because her husband was a senator or representative or whatever in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. He couldn't move, but she had her career. But they've been married for more than 2 decades. Mm-hmm. And they just, right.
They just so now. They're just
right. So it's really, these conversations really come down to stop listening to what 100 people are saying and look at the man or the woman in front of you and have the conversation with them. That's who matters, not what 500 podcasts are saying. Who is the person sitting in front of you? And can you be strong enough to be open enough to tell them who you are so that you can enter into an authentic relationship with this person? That's the only person that matters.
Yep.
And I want to
go ahead.
Go ahead, Shellie.
I was just going to say, well, hold on. I'll say it quick. It gives you an opportunity, that communication, to find out, hopefully quickly, if that person is not for you.
Right. Go ahead, and what I can say is there's a couple different things, right? And it boils back down to what we were talking about before about being very understanding about yourself. Like Dr. J say, what I want, what I need, what I desire, right? And what we keep saying is about being able to communicate those things. And it's this false idea because we always see certain things portrayed in television. So it's like, that must be the way to do it, right? And that's the only way. And that's not it at all, because if you look at television, even just based off of what you're seeing, that one show,
there's millions of shows that show so many different variations of life and marriage and relationships, and they're not all the same. But you have to understand what it is that makes you comfortable and helps your body to relax and be in enjoyment. Because I think a lot of people are in, what happens is they're in relationships and they think that all relationships are going to be just so simple and so easy, and that there's not going to be a moment of struggle, or they think that they have to have nothing but struggle love. And it's like, if we're not struggling, then it's not the right relationship or whatever else. And it's kind of like, you are so out of tune with your own self and your own body that you can't even feel your own personal vibration within any of that, right? And that is a problem. And then if you're in a relationship where you're sitting there and you have to, well, I can't talk for anybody else in their relationship. I personally do not want to be in a relationship where I have to hold myself in and I can't show the 12, 13 personalities that I have and be comfortable enough that someone can hold space for those personalities, or be comfortable enough that there may be one or two that person doesn't like, and that's okay too, right? It's this idea that you have to be perfect, that this person, I gotta cook, I gotta clean, I gotta whatever else, if you want to. But that's really not realistic in all relationships. Like, it just does not work. Does that work for your relationship? Yes or no? Like, yes, you hear all these things, and that's a lot of the times why I feel like sometimes, well, I said a lot. I said a lot of the time. A lot of times I have to mute social media altogether, because you'll be scrolling. If they don't do this, then they don't like you. Scroll. If you keep seeing this, then da da da. And it's like these damn infomercials. If you have gas and an upset stomach, you're about to die. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's really it, and that's really how it comes off. And it's like, you don't know that. Like, have you had that conversation with that person and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable when you say X, Y, and Z, and be okay with them not catering to you. Everything isn't going to be catered to you and how you feel at the same time. But did you express yourself? That's the strength piece to me. I was able to express myself, and even though that person didn't like how I expressed myself, I got off my chest. You know how I feel about it. And that doesn't mean you have to change, but at least I said what I needed to say. And we both know I'm not feeling that. You know what I'm saying? And then me knowing that if something persists, this is where boundaries come into play. And people talk about boundaries, but they talk about it from the standpoint that that person is going against my boundaries, and now I got to get rid of that person. No, if that person goes against your boundaries, what do you need to do? Because you're bound to whatever it is that you stated for yourself. That
Mhm.
person has nothing to do with that. What are you going to do now that you see that is not something that that person cares for? Is that a, like what we talk about sometimes, is that a non, what is this
Non-negotiable.
thing?
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. Thank you. Thank you. But is that a non-negotiable for yourself? Because if it's not, then who cares? They don't, you don't, move forward. Like, and choose to be happy in your relationship. Sometimes we choose to be miserable because it's easy, because it's comfortable, because it's what we've been used to and what we've been used to experience. And so if you're going to be uncomfortable anyways, you might as well be uncomfortable and saying and voicing your opinion, and be uncomfortable but be able to, like what I say, express yourself, show up as your true self, as your full self, and not so much about, oh well, what do you like, what do you
Mhm.
not like, and then starting to make those changes so that you can cut your pieces of yourself away to fit into a relationship that at the end of the day is not going to be anything that's gonna flourish you, gonna be beneficial to you. It's not gonna be anything for you, because you had to demolish and pretty much get rid of who you really are in order to fit in that spot for somebody who you really don't want to be with at the end of the day, because they do all these things you don't like. Or just have all the boyfriends. Like, I don't understand that either. If that's something that you want to do, have that one for when that version of yourself show up. Have another one for another version. Like, figure out though, at the end of the day, what you want, what you like, what you don't like, and really sit down. And I think that's the piece that that hurts a lot of people is they don't do the introspection. If I get to know me, really get to know me, and shut out all the noise and go against, because we go against what our parents say and have taught us anyway, right? But if I really go against what it is that I don't care for, how great can I be? How great could this relationship really be if I meet that fear? Because it's fear, it's false evidence appearing real, right? It's some type of fear. But if I really shake through that and move through that, how much better could it be? And not worry about how bad it could be. If it ends, it ends. It ends. And go try again. And like what you were saying, Maisha, there's not enough men, and there's so many men everywhere. And they will take anything. I don't think I seen some meme where some guy was like, honey, you could be a 2 or a 10 or whatever the scale is, but ain't no man throwing away vagina. Like, they gonna get that too. They want that one too, the 2 and the 10. So at what point, you know what I'm saying? Move the fupa up, just say, put the fupa on his face. Like, I don't know what you guys want. Like, it's okay, because somebody out there is gonna love exactly all the things that you bring to the table, but are you comfortable with it? Or are you holding on to those perceptions that other people have told you, or what social media is doing? And at the end of the day, they don't like themselves. That's why they cutting themselves up from the rooter to the tutor. So why are you worried about somebody who's manipulating themselves to fit something that they don't even enjoy and don't like? Like, it's a mess. Let me calm down.
That's why, yes, Jamekia, all that. And that's
I have to put my glass out. It's all I got. Yes.
Yes. No, but that's why you have to quiet all the noise.
Yes.
So you can get to exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
And know what you want. So you can be strong, independent, feminine, sexy, smart, and still be with somebody.
And unique.
And being strong also includes being fearful. Being strong also includes being scared. Being strong includes being vulnerable. Being strong includes feeling guilt. Like, I feel like there's this narrative that's saying like all these negative attributes that you just avoid them. And it's like, you're not living when you're avoiding. Period. There's nothing else to, if you are avoiding, you are not living. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, tap into all those things.
All the things.
It's important to get all of those things out, though, because when we go through all of these steps that you're talking about, Jamekia, and we're alone, there's no group of women talking about anything, or we're in the dating process, or we're married and we're struggling. It is so important to turn off all of that noise and just, I always talk about these conversations. Me, myself, and I have to have a conference, and and we'll let you know what we decide. It's not about what me, myself, my cousin, my mama, and y'all think. It's just me. I'm the one that's got to live with my decision. And I'm really happy that we're talking about it, because I'm going to stick with what I keep saying. There's no right road for everyone. No one right road, not in this thing called life. All of these relationships look different. We're individuals. The people we find are individuals. The twists and turns of our lives are completely unpredictable. How many people were released from their job this week? So, it's really, really important for us to be able to handle things. I even want to throw into the mix the men who are staying at home, taking care of the children and keeping the house going, and the layers of disrespect that go their way when they are doing a necessary job. When you look at the economics of a relationship and you say, okay, we need someone to keep our baby safe, and someone else to keep us economically safe, and then keep us physically safe. There's nothing wrong with me if she's making more money for him to stay at home, as long as we're having a respectful relationship. And I don't see him as being any less of a man because he's in that role. But again, I know I just went and threw another curveball in, but it's still all the same thing to me. You're not going to tell me I'm too strong because I happen to make more money and it makes sense for him to stay home with the kids.
And I mean, I agree with you. And I think too, it is about understanding, can that person hold you? Because money is not necessarily always just this tangible thing. Like people talk about money and they're like, oh, like the dollars that you get. But as we see, like the government print out money all the time. They print it out of thin air. They just print it out, make some adjustments. We got inflation here, rising costs here, whatever else. None of this, all this shit is made up. Excuse my language. It is what it is. Everything is legitimately made up. However, can when you're in a relationship and in a situation with someone, can they hold you? Can they and when I say hold you, I mean, can you talk to them? Can they pray for you? Or whatever it is, can you ask them questions and really have a conversation back and forth, and they help you to create another thought that you never thought about before and help you to see things differently? Like, what is the true value of the relationship that you're in? Not just monetary, what they provide. Is this person someone who can truly protect you and hold space for you? Because I've been with people, and men, whatever else, and you're sitting there and you're just like, yeah, I still got to watch out for me, even though this person who I'm saying is going to be my guy, right, is there. I still got to watch out for me, and that's for somebody, right? That's for somebody. But when you have experience being in a situation with someone who shows up for you, and they might not financially be able to hold a candle to you because of all the things that you've done as a woman, you went to got the education, went to this place, whatever, your doors may open a little bit easier for you because of who you are and what you've gone through. But if I can relax and I can settle in, and I don't always feel anxious, and I don't always have to, I'm able to walk with this person and not pay attention to my surroundings because I know this person got me at the end of the day. Like, that's comfort that I haven't had in a long time. And I need that. If I can sit there and, say you're out with your girlfriends, everybody's getting drunk, whatever else, but at the end of the day, this person gonna make sure you get to your car, get to your house, get into bed, whatever it is, this person can hold you however that may look. You get what I'm saying? That's I think is very important. I think a lot of people sit up here and they listen to all these other things, and it's like, oh well, he gotta make $100,000 a year. He gotta be able to do this. He can't take, like, even that stuff, the Cheesecake Factory and da da da. Girl, shut up. Like, let's be for real. In real life, if he taking you somewhere, he paying. Listen, let's go to the taco stand, because we ain't even got to go to that. The taco is $150 over here per taco. I just need 3 to 6, and let's go and get us a little. We got tequila at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are putting on these facades, and then when they log off and they cut their lights off and whatever else, you're in a hole in the wall while you sitting up there talking about what he can and cannot provide for you, and you're not even able to provide it for yourself, which I think is one of those things that our predecessors were trying to get us to understand, is that you don't have to stick with this person and be uncomfortable your whole entire life, because you can provide certain things for yourself for you to move forward. And I think we exaggerate so much because of our young perceptions, trying to understand it. And as we get older, we keep holding on to this young perception, this childlike mind, where it's like, you got to learn to let some of that shit go. You got to learn to forgive your parents. You got to learn that maybe she was cussing and fussing and yelling because the other person really wasn't listening. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she was cursing at you, or coming off angry at you because she just worked 2 shifts back to back and she's tired, and now you're realizing how money don't go as far as you want, but she always made sure that you had what you needed regardless of whatever was going on in the situation. Or if your mother said she couldn't get it, that, hey, she did at least try her best. or that there's other things that's happening in life. I think we're so disconnected. We're so connected, we're disconnected. We're so connected to online and what all the things are saying that we're disconnected to the actual reality that we're living in and what we have going on and the interactions, the personal interactions you have face to face. And people are just online just talking. They're talking. And somebody else said earlier, they were like, we keep seeing the things. I think it was you, Maisha. We see the things that we did not want. And so now we're trying hard just to not do those things. And at the end of the day, that still means you're not living. That still means you're focused on and your life is being dictated by something other than you, by an experience other than the one you truly want to have, because you're so focused on not being or not wanting to show or not trying to show up as this, that you can't enjoy the space that you're in. And I think that takes away the word enjoyment. That takes away the enjoyment of life, because it's just so much of not doing, right? Not trying to present myself as, even for me, not trying to present myself as the princess, or not trying to be too pretty or not trying to look too smart. And at the end of the day, it's like those other people who put all these other perceptions onto you and treated you wrong for just showing up as you, that's their loss. So you just walk away from them and then go, like people say all the time, go where you're celebrated, where you can shine and be the best version of yourself and be in enjoyment. That's what's going to make you the strongest person. And you don't have to force that and force yourself onto other people, but you can be embraced and you can find power and just letting go. I think that's the biggest thing about it.
All right, I just want to read these two things because, people use these words. Like, I love everything that Jamekia was saying. And I think when we talk about being strong and independent, a lot of it does come back to trust and money. It comes down to, do I trust you? And money is the power. And we have grown up in a world, especially those of us who grew up from the 60s and 70s and watched Dallas and Falcon Crest and all the hullabaloo, and we went through that era, and money was the power. And so as long as you had that, you had some power as a woman. And as long as a man couldn't take that from you, you also had power. And so in that way, we completely cut off all of the other ways that we have power as women. It was either money and sex. I mean, Lil' Kim, money, power, and sex, which you help you sleeping right. And I mean, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, it was money, power, and respect. Look at me, I'm getting it wrong. But she was an example of someone who that was it. It was money and it was sex. And that was all the power that we had. But our power is so much greater than that. But that happens to be the focus, which is why women are running around trying to get BBL so some guy can like them, so he can protect and provide for them or take care of them, or whatever it is that women are doing these days to try and acquire a man like he's a job or a car so that they can be protected. And so just real quick, because we use these words, so I want to say, because I love going to the land of Google because it's easy and everybody can go there. And, I know language shifts and it changes. These are generalized definitions. But when people say that I don't think they're looking up any of what these words mean, like the word humble. I don't think people actually look up what people think that means. So to be strong, or strong, is having the power to move heavy weights or perform physically demanding tasks. Great. Not looking to be as strong as a man. Don't care. The other definition is able to withstand great force or pressure. I think we got that covered. We can move on now, right? I think Black women have we understand we're strong, okay? It's interesting, though, that the example used is cotton is strong, hard-wearing, and easy to handle. I'm like, oh, like my grandmother picked. Okay, so that's strong. Provide, because if I hear one more, did they protect and provide, provide, to make available for use, supply, to supply something, or make adequate preparation for. It didn't say nothing about money. It didn't say nothing about six figures. It didn't say anything about a man's income. It said to make adequate preparation for. Y'all get to determine what that means for you. What is adequate? What is to be prepared? No one has to define that for you but you, okay? And also to protect, because I don't know what women think of when they think he needs to provide and protect. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm out somewhere with my man and some shit pops off, I need us to leave. I don't need him in jail, and I don't need him fighting, and I don't need him dying. I am 50 years old. We don't need to have any of that in our lives, okay? If he needs to defend us because we are in a position where he must defend us, best believe I'm probably jumping in too, okay? Because he might need some assistance. We rocking it out together. That's just how I roll. But other than that, no. So to protect is to keep safe from harm or injury. For some reason, oh, I'm sorry. Also, no, it's the verb to keep safe from harm or injury. That also means emotionally, spiritually, to protect someone's heart, to protect their soul, to protect their being, to protect their mental state. People are so busy focused on the external. That's why they're sitting in these large houses. Nothing wrong with a large house, being provided for, lonely as I don't know what, empty, because none of this is being protected and provided for. So when we're talking about how we don't need to be so strong and independent, because we don't, but we're also talking about, well, I want to be protected and provided for. In what way, sis? Because I'll tell you, for me, I want my heart protected. I can pay my bills. A man is not reduced to me to his wallet and his penis. He is not an ATM or a live toy. So I'm looking for you to protect my heart. I'm looking for you to have good conversation with me. I'm looking for us to have a spiritual connection that goes deeper than that. That if for some reason somebody's leg falls off and they can't work, we still have a relationship. And it's not like, oh, well, you can't protect and provide for me no more. So deuces. That's what I think. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you all. Goodbye. Good night. It's over. Drop them off.
But
I love this. If you, who said this? Shellie, if you look at this, if you don't defend me, I do not feel safe.
Right. And I think sometimes that's like, for me, it's a conversation. Like, can you hear me? Are you hearing what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we're saying words, but do you really hear and feel where I'm coming from? Because it's not always about being right or wrong. It's just about, do you get my perspective? You get what I'm saying? And that is a great showing me that you can provide for me by listening. Like, and it's little things. Like, the big stuff is important too. I don't want y'all to be thinking that I'm one of them girls, because I like everything. Look, I like all the gifts and all the other stuff too. But it's the little stuff, like, are you really hearing me? I remember when I was in college, one of my boyfriends, my first boyfriend, I was like, I don't like flowers. Like, it was just a conversation we was having. I was like, I don't like flowers because they die and da da da. And I wasn't saying that I don't like flowers, period. Like, he listened to the whole thing. I don't like flowers because they die, and I feel like that's a waste of money. And so when Valentine's came around, he gave me some plastic flowers. You know what I'm saying? The little one plastic rose. And I was like, oh, you listen. It's not that I don't like the flowers. I just hate the fact that they gotta die. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody who buys you a plant because it's like, well, let me give you something that's gonna last longer than just this one moment. You know what I'm saying? Or that conversation like, oh, I really love teddy bears. I want one of those teddy bears that's, almost as tall as me. And then when a person gets that for you, it's like this non-communicated understanding. Like, you heard me talking and you tried and you did. You know what I'm saying? And that is a lot. Like, not the effort as in, or what's the one thing? It's the thought that counts. I don't want the thought. You can miss me on that, because some people like to be like, oh, well, it was the thought that counts. No. What was the effort that you put into it to try to make these things happen? I know you may not have a whole lot of money, whatever else, but you don't need a whole lot of money going to date. Did you, you could have bought something that was $5, a $5 glass, bottle of wine. We could have went out at the park, sat by the lake. All that shit's free. So what effort are you putting in when I tell you I want to spend time with you and I want it to be quality time? Are you looking at me in my eyes when we're talking? Are you giving me your undivided attention, or are you on your telephone? Like, that is something that makes me as a woman melt a little bit more. And when I come around you, I can, and one of the other words, what you should have did, Maisha, was what is it? Submissive, right? When I come around you, can I relax within your energy? Because it's not, and again, when you have real men, it's not really about, oh, she's loud, she talked too much, she da 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 da. No, she can be your peace when you provide her a space to be at peace. You know what I'm saying? Then we both can listen to each other. We both can communicate. We both can do. But I think a lot of it is, again, going back to all the noise and all of the, well, my mama and my daddy and my da da da. Well, go date your daddy. Go date your mama. Cause I'm not them. It ain't gonna work at all. And also the history, the stuff that we tell each other, the history, the side of history that we talk about. Because everybody talks about being a stay-at-home mom, but a lot of Black women weren't stay-at-home mothers. You know what I'm saying? They always worked. So like, yes, my great grandmother was a stay-at-home wife, and my great grandfather was a merchant seaman, so he brought the check home. But like what Maisha said, he brought the check to her so she could see, this is all the money we got. And then she made it stretch and did what she had to do in order to make the house a home, whatever else have you. That was one version of history. Whereas my grandmother, she had to go work in the orange groves and everything else. Everybody in the house had to go into the field and work. So there's so many variations of what history looked like, for us, that when people go to start talking about this is what it was and my grandmother, da da da, Maisha said it before, you need to have that discussion, have that conversation, and realize what you want, because it doesn't matter about your grandmother. You talk about a woman who is supposed to nurture you and put her tit in your mouth and raise you up from a boy to a man. Now that you're a man, what men are you around that help to support you and show you what an alpha male look like, or what it looks like to be a leader in your household? And a leader can also listen to those who are within the works with them and understand that there's back and forth and whatever else. So I think it's more to it. It's something that the conversation needs to be had so that everyone understands. You have to choose, you have to know you first. That's the basic thing. What you want, what you like. We keep going back to it, but we're gonna repeat it. What you want, what you like, what you desire.
Yeah.
And then how can we both co-create with each other? How can we work together to make sure that we both are flourishing in this thing that we call a relationship, so that the ship is moving? Because I think people be in these ships that's sinking, hello, that ain't even finished being built. It's a relationship. It moves. It waves. It flows. It goes. There's gonna be ups and downs. Like, that's you being at sea, being in the water. But can we hold each other and protect each other within this ship that we're together?
Okay. Goodbye. Good night. We're done. I'm just playing.
Conversation got me hot, man, all around and whatnot. I'm excited. Like, I'm ready to make some phone calls.
Look, so
It's
but
for real.
We literally, so we kind of, yes, we're still on the same topic, but this can grow and grow and grow, right? But the main thing, I feel like for us, we've been on a journey to learn how this thing works, right? So let's be clear. We're going to have to make some decisions in our relationships to truly be at a place where we know what we want, like Jamekia said, what we need and what we desire. And oftentimes it's going to take us teaching other people how to treat us, how we communicate. And we have to be honest about it. And we have to own our shit. We really do, because otherwise we're going to be we're just going to be just going around in circles and never coming. So somebody has to first take that first step.
Yes.
To heal this situation. And honestly, um, it might just be us as Black women. So if it is, we have to know what we want, need, and desire. Number one. Number two, we have to be honest. We have to communicate, and we have to say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I need. And let's work this thing through. And it's not going to happen overnight. It is not. And it's not going to be easy, but we have to be able to communicate it and move forward as a family and a community. So I love the conversation. I love that we're having it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to read.
Yeah.
So first of all, we had the question of how often do we do this? We do this once a month right now, but there's definitely more coming. And I'm sorry, for some reason, all of the posts keep duplicating. Maisha, could you put that message back up there? But she was talking about our elders. Some elders gave advice from their traumatized trauma lens, and they were in survival mode and passed it down to us. And and I receive it, because when I tell you these elders have smacked me in the face, left, right, and center, and it's not a social media thing. First time an elder beat me in the face was like 2001. I'm a new loan officer. I'm trying to go do a loan for someone. Gave her a great deal. I was so proud to take care of grandma. And grandma told me, I talked to the other loan officer, and I decided I feel better with a man doing the loan. And, I'm like, but, and, it's like, there's just so much deep rooted pain in there to work through, but we're working through it. We're talking through it. It's coming out with every conversation, with every experience. It just gets better. And the ultimate goal is to just be happy. I want to say but my goal is to be happy where I am, right here, right now. If I don't change anything else about my life, do I get to be happy where I am? And the answer is yes. I shouldn't have to go redesign my whole life to find happiness. No one should have to go do that. It's a choice, it's a mindset, and there are some things that I believe need to be changed, but it's still attainable. And I'm not trying to be nobody's weak little baby girl in order to accomplish that either.
Yeah, but I think it's a place for duality within any relationship, as well. And I don't think that you necessarily have to be weak per se, but it's a little bit of something for everybody. One of the things that I wanted to say too is that I like what you said, Dr. J, the word that I was writing it down as you were speaking, but honesty, right? A big issue is that we're not able to be honest with ourselves, which is why we can't be honest with other people. And it's about being honest with you, being aware of yourself, and bringing certain things into your conscious pattern. Like everything that we do is a habit, is nothing but a pattern that we've gone over and we've constantly repetitiously played over and over again. Right? Your parents told you, wake up, wash your, brush your teeth, use the bathroom, wash your face, whatever else. These are patterns that we repeated over and over until it became unconscious. So now we get up and we do. That's even with our bad habits. Our bad habits are things that we just get up and we do because we've been doing it for so long. And I think that a lot of people are afraid of themselves being honest with themselves. I had a client who we was having this conversation. It was I'm gonna say it was a male, right? And he was just like, oh, well, I was talking to this girl and, she came at me and was like, oh, I'm not trying to tell his business for real, but like, let's just say she came at me and say, well, I am celibate right now in this relationship. And so he was like, well, I'm just gonna friend zone her and whatever else, but I'm gonna help her do X, Y, and Z. And then it was like, I'm friend zoning her, but I'm gonna help her do X, Y, and Z. Oh, then a couple months later it was like, yeah, then because I helped her do X, Y, and Z, then it seemed like she ain't really celibate right now because X, whatever else is happening. And I was like, you're just being manipulative. I was like, you never wanted to entertain her as a true friend. You wanted to be with her sexually. And instead of you being honest with yourself, saying, this is what I want, and giving her that and expressing that to her and giving her that opportunity to say yes, no, and then just show up, like letting that be that, you decided for her, because just in your conversation, she said, I'm celibate. You was like, oh, nah, I ain't finna mess around with her because she don't want da da da. No, she just expressing to you where she is at this present moment. But maybe if you would have gave her the opportunity to say, hey, I want to date you, I do want to have sex with you, at some point, and blah blah blah. I was like, you could have just had the conversation and let things transpire. I was like, but what we do is we're not honest with ourselves. Then we get upset with other people because we start to then put our own focus and idea and all these other things. We start projecting onto them. And then we're in a place where we're like, well, girls don't know what they want. Or with women, men don't know what they want. No, sis, you don't know what you want. So because you're unclear with what you want, you're talking to a man that knows he just want to have sex. But you're trying to make him your boyfriend, and he done told you he ain't looking for a girlfriend. He just want to have sex. But you thinking, if I stay here long enough, then maybe he'll change his mind. No. You can't change somebody else's mind for them, but you need to be stern on your mindset and what it is that you want and be able to walk away. And that's the problem, because we don't want to walk away. We want to shift everybody. We want to change everybody's mind instead of changing ourselves. And then you get mad at the end of the day when stuff don't go your way. It never was your way. You had these rose-colored lenses on, and the rose-colored lenses allow all the red flags to blend right on in, and you chose to keep on walking with it. And y'all know I collect red flags, just in case you didn't know. I'm that girl. Okay, so but if you okay with the red flags, go have fun. Like if you're a person somewhat like me, now okay, I'm seasonal with it. I don't do this all the time. I'm just letting y'all know. But if you know you just want to have fun, go have fun, and keep in your conscious mind, I'm just having fun. You have to remind yourself, I'm just having fun. This is not serious. This is blah, blah, blah. Even if things start to change and transpire, you need to know what you want first, not just what this other person and how they're responding to you or how they're reacting or whatever else. Be clear in it. And I think clarity is very important in all of the things. You know what I'm saying? So even going back to what we were saying before, being strong, being independent, there's nothing wrong with you being strong. There's nothing wrong with you being independent, but you need to understand what the hell you really want, and then understand what it takes to solidify yourself in that, because some of your actions don't reflect what it is that you're saying, your words. And so when you find men who are doing the same thing, their actions don't correlate with their words, is because yours don't. So you have to check you first. And then after you check yourself, you'll wind up vibrating in a situation where the right person is going to come to you. But right now, they can't see your frequency because it's off. They can't tune in.
Or yeah, all that. Or I was about to type it in the chat, but and this is a whole nother topic, but kind of the same, that we're so strong and independent that we lack the ability to just have fun and have pleasure. Another topic, another day. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm here for that one. But I wanted to, because Carmel been quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she waiting for you, Carmel, to unmute that mic.
Listen, I'm taking it all in. I'm listening. You're making amazing points. I've got nothing more right now.
Carmel said, don't be throwing me
well,
under
maybe
the bus.
it's time to wrap it up.
Shoot,
Maybe it's time to say, hey, it's a wrap.
Hey,
I do.
Listen, this was good though. Did Jamecia
I think this has been my favorite topic, my favorite conversation we've had. I think.
Well, so this is what we need to do, and I think we've already done it. Really, we've kind of brought it back to some solution based, because that's what we are. Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Mm-hmm. We will talk about all the things and all the topics, but we want to be solution based as well. And there is no real solution all. that I'm saying is for me, the biggest thing has been honesty, but with me.
Yeah.
And just being real about it. Because once that happens, everything else is so clear. So just being honest, being able to communicate it, and moving forward, and understanding that yes, I'm gonna have some missteps, yet missteps. Yes, I'm going to not always be 100% happy with whatever, but just knowing that I still have to be honest with myself and I create my life. So those are my tips for everyone who's watching. I'm Dr. Jemecia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I am also intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer, speaker, author, all the things. And I'm 1/5 of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. And we look forward to seeing you at our events that we're having. And we're going to talk about that. But I'll pass this over to Jamekia so she can say who she is and her tips for this conversation. And bye.
Look, well, thank you, Dr. J. Again, you guys, I am Jamekia Anderson. My tips
looking
is
juicy
what
today, by the way. Just saying, looking juicy.
Oh, thank you.
You're looking good.
It's just a look, just got to get in front of the right lights.
A little razzle dazzle for the people.
Look, thank you. Yeah. But my tips is just to be more clear and honest with yourself. Because it starts with you first. And the more that you can be clear with what you want, what you need, what you desire, like Dr. J was saying, the more honest you can be with yourself and being conscious and aware of it, the easier it will be for you to select your next best move. And remember, don't play the game for everybody. Just play it for yourself. Like it don't be all the chess pieces on the board. Somebody told me this one time. Listen, from a great person, great man, great Black man. Don't be all the chess pieces on the board and try to be player one and player two. That's not your job. But just do what you need to do for you and allow the other person the opportunity to adjust. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't think of all the things. You just can't. Look, you just can't. But again, my name is Jamekia. You guys definitely check me out on YouTube. Go look at the books, you guys. I have two introspective journals that are out. One is called Reflections, the other is called Growth, both available on Amazon. Take some time to get to know you. I think sometimes we're so used to hearing all the noise and asking all the questions and not giving ourselves the opportunity to really sit with things and figure out what is best for ourselves. So that is really big, and that's what I do. I in my program with Harmony Power, which is the name of the business, the company. But within that, what we do is we listen to ourselves. I help you strategize things that you need for yourself, because sometimes we're so busy talking and listening to other stuff that we're not clear on what's our voice and what are all the other things. And I help you to do that. We have tools for it. You have the journals, you have other writings, you have a community that will help foster those things, those ideas. And we pull in the spirituality aspect because, everybody got some type of religion background. Majority of Black women are Christians, but even those things aren't the truth of what the Bible is saying and what we've been told, how we've been controlled and manipulated and all those things. We have to differentiate some of those things. That's a different conversation for another day. But at the end of the day, if you're saying that you're a Christian and you're going to be Christ-like, Jesus didn't put up with a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? He came in to know that he's going to be different than all the rest. And so I'm here to help you be different and be your full self so that you can show up authentic in the world and that you can have the best version of your reality on this plane. So I definitely appreciate y'all and all the things. And I'm going to pass it over to Camille.
Thank you. So like I said, this was just an amazing conversation. There was very, very little room for me to interrupt and say, because just as soon as something was said, the point I want to make is established. But I wanted to say that my takeaways from this was, number one, being honest with yourself, right? knowing what it is that you need and that you want from the world, from your relationships, from the people around you. And then based on that, establishing your non-negotiables. Jamekia had mentioned that earlier. Our non-negotiables are just that. They're non-negotiable. This is what I will put up with, and this is what I absolutely will not. And men have such an amazing ability to stand by their non-negotiables. It's us as women that tend to kind of like, okay, well, just this one time. And then the next piece for me is being able to communicate that. Communication is a skill, right? Communication is a skill because I can tell somebody something, and if I'm not strong enough and he comes back at me with something, I might be like, oh, okay, you're right. Right? So communication is a skill, and being able to stand up to my non-negotiables based on the honest conversation I had with myself about what I want and need. Those are my three takeaways from this conversation this evening. I'm Carmel Jean-Francois. I'm owner and founder of CFIT Coaching, and I work with those who have come to realize that they have maybe a sugar addiction, a food addiction. I assist them in adapting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle in order to combat that addiction or combat whatever it is that's taken over their nutrition. And I'm here always encouraging everybody to add more plants to your plate. And I'm going to pass it over to you, Maisha.
Yeah, this has been amazing and wonderful. First, you can find all of us at blackcoffeehoneyandgrits.com. You can find all of our links to all of us all over social media. We would love it if you would subscribe, like, and share for Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits for sure on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram cuts the live stream off after an hour, so sorry, Instagram. But you can find us on all of those social media channels, and you can find each one of us in our individual pages if you go to blackcoffeehoneyandgrits.com. Do not forget to sign up for our mailing list so that you can keep in touch with us just in case the social media world goes bye-bye. And that way you can also see all of our fun things that we have going on. Like you'll be getting some behind the scenes because we're going on a cruise. So you're going to want to keep up and see what BCHG is doing. And we've got some other things, but I'll stop there for the moment. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you, Plan D. Gonna ping your comment up there. We really appreciate that. We are definitely here representing different facets of Black women, and we love and support Black men. So we appreciate your comment. To me, my biggest tip is something that I personally had to learn, and I'm still learning, is the strength in vulnerability, the strength in being authentically open, and the strength that comes from connecting with others. It's scary, it's frightening to do that. There's a risk of pain, there's a risk of heartbreak, and trusting that each time my heart cracks open, it is only to make space for it to be bigger. That I'm learning to see heartbreak as a way to break away a shell that allows my heart to grow, as opposed to heartbreak being a way that kind of makes me want to cry, as opposed to heartbreak being a way that causes me to collapse inward. And this has been a journey for me. So I see vulnerability and being able to show, as I like to say, what's under the hood of my car, where it might be messy, it might be dirty, it might not look so great. Allowing those parts of myself to be seen, and trusting that those who love me will appreciate them even if they don't like them, but will know that it makes up the mosaic, the quilt that is all of me. And I think that as women and men, if we do more of that in relationships, we will weed out the people who are not meant for us, instead of putting up a facade and hoping that they'll never find out how messy we are, because they will, and then they'll feel lied to. But if we do that, we'll weed out the people who aren't for us, and we'll attract more of the people who are. So that's my tip, is to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to take a deep breath in, exhale, and have the scary conversations. My name is Maisha on the line. I am Devi Maisha. I am the sensual energy alchemist. I'm a master life coach and teacher of sensuality. And my business, Sensual Energy Alchemy, reconnects Black women to their confidence and their power through their sensuality and their pleasure. You can actually join me tomorrow, Sunday, ladies. Sorry, fellas. Right now, I just focus on the women. That's my gift to you, to focus on the women. You can actually, ladies, you can join me tomorrow. I'm having the last of my free open houses. So it is going to be Sunday, February 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can sign up at the link is bit.ly. That's B like boy, IT like Tom.ly/sensual open house, not sexual, sensual. bit.ly/sensual open house. You can sign up and come and join me and the other women who are going to be there. And with that, I will toss the microphone over to Shellie. We are so excited you all have been here with us tonight. We'll be back here. We are here the third Saturday of every month at 4 p.m. going live. Third Saturday of every month. So go ahead and put it in your calendars, 4 p.m. Eastern. Shellie, the mic is yours.
Awesome. So for me, my thoughts, and we're going to talk about something coming up too, but it's about tearing down the walls, eliminating the fraud, the fake, the clouds, really just trying to be transparent and authentic behind that. So it's authenticity, honesty, and comfort, because I am comfortable with my way, and I don't believe that any of us need to be uncomfortable. We don't need to live a lie to make somebody else happy. We should be our authentic selves. That is all I have to throw at the table. However it was done, and got nothing to do with how it's getting done, because let's face facts, we don't even want to be like some of these people who we're listening to. So it sounds so hard when I hear some people say it, but we're out here listening to people we have no desire to be like. So let's just be comfortable and honest with ourselves about what our wants and needs are. What did you say, Dr. J? I wrote it down. You said want, need, and desire. Let's be clear about what we want, need, and desire, and just sit in it. Because for one person, that's going to be the big mansion. For the next person, that's going to be a tiny house off grid or whatever. And everyone is happy. So who am I to tell you that your happiness is not good enough? We're not the same. So there's that. You guys, we are really close to locking down the location for our May 5th event. And we talked about it today, but on May 5th, we're getting together for a brunch. So far, our brunches have sold out. It is going to be in the Metro New York, New Jersey area. Did we settle on New Jersey, you guys? So, okay, so it's going to be somewhere northern central New Jersey. We're withholding the locations for right now, but very, very soon we are going to be picking a location. We are going to be updating the website, I believe, as of Monday, and you will be able to go in and purchase your ticket for the brunch and join us. We get together, we share a meal, we share conversation, and work really hard to lift each other up. These events so far have been co-ed, so if you fellas want to join us, you are welcome to. So that is it. And then as far as me, I am Shellie A. Carter out of New Jersey. I'm a cross-licensed real estate professional. I hold real estate banking and life insurance licenses. I am the CEO and founder of Housing Ministry, because my business is about helping you find and fund your real estate, but my happy place is helping you monetize that real estate. So we want to find it, we're going to fund it, and we're going to help you protect it and get everything secure. And then I don't really believe that everyone should be running around with 2 and 3 and 10 jobs. For me, I am focusing on working with a group of people to find ways to monetize that home. So many Rules have changed. We get to work from home now, more now than we ever did. And if you can be at home and make enough to cover the mortgage and secure your future, have multiple streams of revenue, so that way if your job one day calls and says, hey, we don't need you anymore, or we've been bought out, that your world doesn't come crashing down. So that is it. I have other things that I do, but that is enough for now. So does anybody else have anything else to say, or are we good? This has been a good conversation.
Should we tell them the theme of our brunch? It's making me feel very sexy right now.
Oh, you drop it.
Carmel, did Carmel want to put her voice on? We all got voices. Oh, so, we do. So the brunch on May 5th is going to be soul sips and honey grits. You're not going to want to miss what we have to offer you. So it's going to be May 5th in the New Jersey area. It's going to be close to transit. If you're thinking, oh, I don't live in Jersey, we're going to tell you right now that we've had people, when we had our brunch in Virginia, we had people come from New York down to Alexandria, Virginia for our brunch. It is well worth traveling for. So we really hope to see you on May 5th for Soulful Sips and Honey Grits. There you go. Shellie put it in there. Anybody else have any final thoughts, words, comments?
No, this is great.
No, just glad that we got to have the conversation. Glad Jamekia made it back in. And thank you to everyone who participated. The chat was hopping, and that is always fantastic. So
And welcome. This was good.
Oh, we got merch.
Oh, yeah. We do. We have merch. Yes. T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs.
and
a little bit of black coffee.
Fantastic duffel bag. I wish I
had a duffel bag. Yes.
Thank you, Plan B. Yes, the Maisha voice. All right, y'all. We are going to sign off now. We are going to stay on here for a moment, but we are going to stop going live for you all. We will be back here the third Saturday in March. Happy leap year, everyone. Stay tuned to us. You're going to be catching us on our cruise, so stay tuned. All right, y'all. Thank you, Kadesh.
Bye.